What's up, traders? Matt from the Trade Brigade here doing a technical analysis on ticker symbol XAIR for Beyond Air Inc. On the left-hand side, we have the daily time frame, and on the right-hand side, the 30-minute intraday time frame. This is a new chart to the channel, so let's start by making a daily roadmap here of some quick areas of support and resistance that we're noting. So certainly there as support. Up here is resistance. We'll talk about trend lines in just a second when we get into the intraday charts. This prior pivot high strikes me as important. Underneath that, we have a shelf in here. And then the last sort of breakout point came from 7-Eleven. Again, not anticipating that we get all the way back down into these areas, just noting that that's where they are from a structural standpoint. So those resistance and support trend lines that I wanted to discuss from the 30-minute perspective are as follows, right? We're kind of in a tightening pattern where our lows are getting lower, or excuse me, our highs are getting lower, but our lows are also getting higher, right? So if I could get this to click, thank you, Thinkorswim. Let me know in the comments if that ever happens to you. It's quite bothersome, but there we go. So we do have a support trend line in play that looks something like that as well. And again, you can just kind of see the overall nature of this tightening where we're getting tighter and tighter and tighter, and eventually that will or should lead to some sort of breakout. So that's what I would monitor there. Some more granular levels to sort of pick out here, then we'll talk about what's going on with today's trading, is definitely this right here. You can clearly see this 1085 did act as resistance, a shelf. A shelf led to a nice breakout. When it back tested, first touch was a bounce and then resistance again, and kind of chopping around it now. So today's session was kind of interesting in the fact that we did have an upper wick that rejected once again the resistance trend line, but we're still in the overall pattern. I would really watch for this as we move forward. So the first step in trading this, in my opinion, if you're going to try to play the long, at least follow this trend from the daily perspective, would be waiting for the break up and over 1085, and then as it consolidates and coils underneath that resistance trend line, that would probably be where I take the first long trade, the break of that, to get us back into that upside target there at 1137, and after that you could look for 12, essentially the most recent pivot high in here, as the next overhead area. From there you're monitoring for continuation, arguably on something underneath $20. You're looking at 25-cent marks, 50-cent marks, as well as whole dollars to act as psychological resistance. Now if that doesn't pan out and we remain under 1085, which it does look like is the case as of right now in the post-market session, we're trading 1019 by 1059, so quite a spread in there actually, but I would be watching for the potential of a support trendline break, in which case I'm probably just avoiding this, right? If we go on over to the trade tab, what you'll notice is that this is certainly hard to borrow, so you're not going to short the shares, and the put side of the option chain here is laughable in terms of volume, so probably just avoiding the short side and being patient. The real area where I would potentially consider pullback longs would be this area here at 930, noting that it was just the prior breakout point. So if we print a hammer down here, if we print an indecision doji, basically anything that makes you question, could this pullback here be over? Can we flip long over the highs, get back into some of those upside targets? 930 would be the area where that could potentially come from. And then after that, focusing on the blue line here, 50 simple period moving average from the daily chart. Those are going to wrap up my thoughts here on XAIR. For now, being patient, seeing how this tightening of the range resolves, and from there, judging whether or not we're long or being patient. So if you enjoyed the video or learned anything new, let me know in the comments section or by giving the video a thumbs up. Don't forget our main channel is linked in the description, and all of that being said, I wish you a green trading week.